All right, so let's see how far we've gotten with our assignment so far. We implemented some support for login, registration, profile, where we can retrieve the someone's specific profile information. Also retrieve some of the websites that are related to that particular user. Also, I believe we implemented pages as well. Page. And the widgets, no, I thought we did, didn't we? Oh, right, website. I think website 1, 2, 3 maybe. There we go. And we made this all dynamic, using switch and switch when. So this is using the implementation where all the data is implemented on the client side, right? So if you go under graduates. You'll see that each one of the data is being hosted on the client side web services, right? And we provided all the CRUD operations to retrieve this data through this one singleton instance, right? So what we need to be able to do is refactor this so that instead of hosting it here, it's going to host it on the server side, okay? And eventually in the database, right? So let's see how can we move this onto the server side. All right, so let's do that. So let's start moving this onto the server side. So for instance, what we're going to do first, right, is we're going to create a directory out here, right, where we're going to host all our server-side code. Right? I'm going to put it under assignment, okay? And I'm going to add an additional directory so that I can host it for both the undergrad, right, and for the grad later tomorrow night. Okay, so I'm going to put all my code for the server side for this class under this directory. Okay, I'm going to put here an app.js. Right, and this will be my server side file. Server-side application, and it's going to work in tandem with the client-side application. All right. So I'm going to just do here console log server-side app. Right. To get this going, right? To get this going, we're going to load our app from here from the server side. Right. We're going to load from the assignment / undergrad / app. There it is. Right. If I restart my server, notice that indeed I have here server-side app. So that I'm inside of that app.js. Everybody okay? All right. All right. Now from inside of my app.js, right, I can get a hold of the Express library that has been loaded previously. I can get a hold of it by just requiring .express, right, just like this, and I can use .express to create routes, right? I can listen for incoming requests, right, from the client, from anywhere in the world, actually, right? Anybody who wants to access me, yes.
Sorry, this is the app.js in the new assignment folder, right?
Yes. Yep. Yes, assignment 4. So for instance, I can say get hello. Right? I can listen for incoming HTTP requests. Here I'm listening for an incoming get. Right? That's all I can really, well, get and post is all I can really generate from a browser, right? Without the use of JavaScript. So let's see if we can generate this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to say call this, say, a hello function, right? Implemented down here. Right, function, say hello, and we're going to say console log hello. Okay, right? What this is allowing me to do is to map URLs that are coming in, requests coming from the server, associating them to executable code, right? Executable logic, right? So, for instance, if I restart this, oops, am I not in the right place? Maybe I have to go up one. No, oh, another one. Okay, looks like I'm right. Right, so for instance, if I now hit my same local host, right, and I say hello, ooh, I already have a hello directory. Okay, how about I say goodbye? Goodbye. Do I have a goodbye? There it is. It's saying hello, even though I said goodbye. Right, it's just plain printing this out, right? This hello. I say goodbye and it says hello. And there it is. So it's coming into that function right there, right? So this what allows me to do is to have anything that is running on the client, right, be able to talk back to the server, right? Because remember the application that is running on the client, right? It's all on its own, right? It doesn't have access to any data. It doesn't have access to any file system. Has very limited access to the network. Okay. The only network access that it has, just out of the box, is to come back to the server that it came from. Yes, right, and that's exactly what we want to do, right? All the JavaScript that we've been writing so far, right, is going to be downloaded from this server, right, onto somebody's browser, right, and so anything that is on that browser that was downloaded from our server, out of the box is going to be able to communicate back to us and say, hey, I'm all by myself here. I don't have any data, right? Do you have any data for me to display? I only have HTML and JavaScript. I don't actually have anything to display. So this is how we're going to be able to, ask for instance, give me some websites to render, right? And we're going to, we're going to be able to say things like, hey, do you have any websites for me to render? And to say something like, give me all the websites, and then say send websites back, send websites. And this logic, we might be able to say things such as, return or send back some websites, right? So we might have here some websites as arrays of objects, and the websites might have names, right? So here's a Facebook, and you might have a Twitter and LinkedIn, right? And then we could respond back to the request coming from the client. So this is the request coming from the client is going to be available to us, right, through arguments or parameters that node.js Express calls us when it sees this incoming request. Right, it passes us everything it knows from the incoming request from the browser. Okay, it tells us the timestamp, the IP address from where it's coming from. Any cookies that are coming from the client, any parameters, anything that represents the request coming from the browser, right? And it also provides us with a way for us to answer or respond back to the client, right? So that we can participate in this client-server relationship, right? That makes sense, right? So the request tells me what comes from this client, and the response allows me to answer to that request and send back, right? Send back any data that I want, or this could be a string, it could be JSON object, it could be an entire file. I could send a whole bunch of things, right? Images. I can send a whole bunch of other things, right? Right now, for the most part, we're going to be using this to send back data. Okay, send back data. So if we restart this and we ask for websites, there they are, right? This is the array of objects that come from the server. The server is going to host all this data. Make sense? Everybody okay? Right. So this is, for instance, is what we're doing here is that we're exposing some piece of data in some URL living at some server machine. Yes. This is a very, very powerful concept, right? That just like this, we made available data, right, somewhere on the network, somewhere on the internet, right? Somebody knows my IP address. Somebody knows my server name, right, and they append /websites, I can actually provide them with some piece of data, right? This is a very, very powerful concept, and many services today are are using this concept, right, to expose all sorts of really cool services on the network. Okay, when you say today, when today you say, oh, it's on the cloud, the data is on the cloud, right? They're using this concept, right, of at some URL, right, they are exposing some data, right, so that you can go and fetch it, right, and then obviously they document what these URLs look like, right, so that you can go back and retrieve this data, and this has allowed companies to very easily integrate amongst themselves, right, be able to just expose data and interactions between different disparate systems, right, by being able to expose these services very, very easily. Okay, integration used to be very, very complex. Especially in the days where you had to expose a particular IP address, a particular port number. Right, there was a lot of security issues that were involved. Today, with a simple HTTP server, right, using just a regular port 80, it's very easy to just register a particular web service at a particular URL, and anybody who has access to that or authority or can authenticate or has been made trustworthy, they can just retrieve that data. Right? It's very, very easy to much easier today to integrate disparate systems. All right, so let's see how we can build on this idea, right? To migrate some of this data, right, the users and websites and pages and widgets, right, expose it and move it onto the server side. Okay? All right.